3 biceps exercises you should never do. Swap them for these. Strong biceps that stretch the sleeves of your shirt is one of the biggest goals for men who go to the gym, and it's one of the workouts they enjoy doing the most. However, many end up not seeing the results they want because they don't know the basic anatomy of the muscle, and therefore choose the wrong exercises. Others, even worse, end up choosing movements that have a higher risk of injury, especially for those who don't execute them correctly. That's why today you'll see 3 biceps exercises that you should remove from your workout and replace with the 3 we're going to suggest. We took into consideration 3 main criteria: risk of injury, difficulty of execution, and effective muscle activation. Today, you'll see 3 biceps exercises you shouldn't do and what to replace them with to optimize your results. Before we start, tell me in the comments your name and how long you've been training. Exercise number 1, concentration curl. The concentration curl is widely known and popularized mainly by bodybuilders from past decades. Many consider this an essential exercise to isolate the biceps and create the famous peak that we all desire. However, there are several problems associated with this movement that many people ignore. The first major problem with the concentration curl is comfort and positioning. The required position seated, leaning forward, with one arm resting on the inner thigh doesn't provide good comfort for most practitioners. This forced position makes it difficult to maintain stability throughout the movement, especially when using more challenging weights. Another critical point is the difficulty in really feeling the proper muscle work. While many claim they can isolate the biceps better with this exercise, the reality is that the sensation doesn't necessarily translate to greater efficiency. The position compromises constant tension in the muscle, as there are moments during the execution when the biceps rests, especially at the top of the movement. A study published in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research demonstrated that, compared to other biceps exercises, the concentration curl presents a less consistent pattern of muscle activation with peaks and valleys of tension instead of maintaining constant activation. Most concerning, however, is the fact that most people will make mistakes when doing this exercise. The most common errors include using momentum with the trunk to initiate the movement, not keeping the elbow stable, allowing it to move during execution, excessive wrist rotation at the top of the movement, not properly controlling the eccentric phase, positioning the elbow too far forward or too far back, completely changing the angle of work. These errors not only reduce the effectiveness of the exercise, but also significantly increase the risk of both acute and chronic injuries to the elbow and the biceps itself. Exercise number 2, straight bar curl. The straight bar curl is probably the most classic and traditional biceps exercise in gyms. It's almost impossible to go through a gym without seeing someone performing this movement. However, despite its popularity, this exercise presents a series of problems that many practitioners are unaware of. The first and most serious problem is the potential for wrist injuries. The straight bar forces your wrists to remain in a fixed position throughout the movement, without allowing any natural rotation. This position can cause great discomfort and over time develop epicondylitis or other injuries to the tendons that connect the forearm to the elbow. The biomechanics of this movement require excellent control to properly stabilize the scapula and elbow. Many practitioners, especially beginners, don't have the body awareness necessary to maintain this stabilization throughout the exercise. The result is a compensatory movement that frequently involves elevation of the shoulders during contraction, projection of the elbow forward or backward, swinging the trunk to generate momentum, hyperextension of the lumbar spine. These compensations not only reduce the effective work on the biceps, but also distribute tension to other structures of the body, increasing the risk of injuries. An often ignored aspect is that the straight bar curl cannot work each biceps unilaterally. This point is crucial because we all have natural imbalances between the right and left sides of the body. When we use the bar, the stronger side tends to compensate for the weaker side, which means that the dominant arm ends up doing more force. The non-dominant arm doesn't receive enough stimulation. Existing imbalances tend to increase over time. This inability to correct imbalances is particularly problematic for those seeking symmetrical muscle development, which is one of the main objectives of aesthetic hypertrophy. Exercise number 3, Scott curl with bar. The Scott curl with bar, performed on the traditional preacher bench, is often acclaimed as a superior exercise for biceps development. Many athletes and trainers consider it fundamental for developing the lower part of the biceps. However, a more careful analysis reveals significant problems that compromise its effectiveness and safety. The main biomechanical problem is related to positioning. Although the exercise places the arm in a maximum stretch position, the angle of the preacher bench removes a lot of tension from the biceps at the top of the movement. This happens because, when you complete the repetition, there's a moment when the biceps practically rests, losing tension. This characteristic creates an inconsistent tension curve throughout the movement. The biceps works intensely in the lower and middle part of the movement, but receives little stimulation at the end of the concentric phase. This tension pattern is not ideal for maximizing hypertrophy, as we know that constant tension throughout the full range is one of the main factors for muscle growth. Despite giving that impressive pump sensation during the workout, the Scott curl with bar doesn't generate as efficient a stimulus as it seems. The momentary pump is often confused with effectiveness, but they are distinct things. The temporary congestion of blood in the muscle doesn't necessarily translate into long-term muscle growth. A concerning aspect of this exercise is that it puts the elbow in a vulnerable position, considerably increasing the chance of tendinitis. The preacher bench forces an extension of the elbow that, under load, creates significant stress on the joint and biceps tendons. This stress is even greater when the practitioner uses heavy loads or performs the movement abruptly. Just like the straight bar curl, the Scott curl with bar also can't work each biceps unilaterally. This means that the stronger arm will continue doing more work, while the weaker one will continue receiving less stimulation. As a result, any existing imbalances tend to persist or even worsen over time. The most common errors during execution include losing complete contact of the arms with the bench, using impulse and momentum to initiate the movement, not properly controlling the eccentric phase, letting the elbows move away from the bench during contraction, using excessive loads that compromise technique. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Having constant access to science-based information is what will make you progress with health in the long term in the world of bodybuilding. To better understand the alternatives we will propose, we need to know a little about the basic anatomy of the biceps. The biceps brachii, as the name suggests, is a muscle with two heads, the long head and the short head. Additionally, we have the brachioradialis, which, although technically not part of the biceps, contributes significantly to the appearance and function of the arm. To properly work all these structures, short head, long head, and brachioradialis, we need to vary the position of the elbow in relation to the body. This means including in the workout an exercise with the elbow in front of the body, which emphasizes the short head, an exercise with the elbow at the side of the body, which works both heads in a balanced way, an exercise with the elbow behind the body, which emphasizes the long head. Now that you know which exercises to avoid, let's get to know the best alternatives for a complete and safe biceps development. Exercise substitute number 1, incline bench curl. The incline bench curl is an excellent alternative to replace the concentration curl, maintaining the benefits and eliminating the problems. This exercise is performed sitting on an incline bench, with the arms naturally extended backward, close to the body. The first great benefit of this exercise is the greater stretching of the biceps that it provides. Due to the inclined position and the arms naturally positioned behind the trunk, the long head of the biceps is placed in a significant stretch before initiating contraction. This initial stretched position is extremely important for the complete development of the muscle, particularly for creating that desirable biceps peak. The long head of the biceps, which originates above the shoulder joint, is especially favored in this movement. When the arm is positioned behind the body, the long head is stretched more intensely, allowing it to work in its full range during contraction. This contributes to a more harmonic and voluminous development of the posterior part of the arm. Another significant benefit is the ease of execution. Unlike the concentration curl, which requires an uncomfortable and unstable position, the incline bench curl offers a stable and comfortable position for the entire body, greater ease in maintaining correct technique, possibility of using more challenging weights safely, lower risk of compensations and swinging. To execute correctly, sit on the incline bench with your back fully supported. Hold a pair of dumbbells with your arms extended naturally at your sides, allowing them to fall slightly backward. During the movement, keep your elbows fixed. They are your hinge, and contract your biceps to lift the weights. At the top of the movement, do an isometric contraction for 1 to 2 seconds to maximize the stimulus. If you don't adapt well to the incline bench curl, another excellent option to work the biceps with the elbow in a posterior position is the Bayesian curl. In this exercise, you stand with your arms extended behind your body and perform elbow flexion, lifting the dumbbells. The benefits of the Bayesian curl include maximum stretching of the long head of the biceps, excellent isolation of the biceps without involvement of other muscle groups, possibility of executing anywhere without the need for specific equipment, less stress on the joints compared to the concentration curl. Exercise substitute number 2, cable curl. The cable curl emerges as a superior alternative to the traditional straight bar curl, bringing several benefits that overcome the limitations of the exercise with a free bar. The main advantage of this exercise is in the constant traction provided by the cable and pulley system. Unlike the free bar, which allows moments of rest during certain phases of the movement, the cable maintains continuous tension in the biceps throughout the full range of the exercise. This constant tension is fundamental to maximize the muscle growth stimulus, as it doesn't allow the muscle to relax at any point of the execution. A significant benefit of the cable curl is the more natural resistance curve it provides. While the free bar offers resistance that varies according to the position of the arm in relation to gravity, the cable creates a more uniform resistance throughout the entire movement. This means that the biceps works in a more balanced way at all angles, resulting in a more complete development. Another crucial aspect is that when using the cable curl, you should prefer a more curved bar. This bar allows a more comfortable grip, with the wrists in a semi-pronated position. This simple alteration drastically reduces stress on the wrists and elbows, minimizing the risk of developing epicondylitis or other common joint injuries associated with the straight bar curl. The cable curl also offers greater freedom of movement, allowing your elbows and wrists to follow more natural trajectories during execution. This adaptability is especially important because it reduces stress on the joints. It decreases the need for body compensations. It allows individual adjustments based on your anatomical structure. It offers greater comfort during the movement. To properly execute the cable curl, 1. Position yourself facing the cable machine, with feet shoulder width apart. 2. Hold the bar with a supinated grip. 3. Keep elbows fixed next to the body. They are your rotation point. 4. Contract the biceps to raise the bar to shoulder height. 5. Make a conscious contraction at the top of the movement. 6. Control the eccentric phase, slowly returning to the starting position. An important technical detail: many practitioners make the mistake of moving their elbows away from the body during execution. This significantly reduces the effectiveness of the exercise and transfers part of the work to the shoulders. Keep your elbows fixed next to your ribs throughout the movement to maximize biceps work. Exercise substitute number 3, spider curl. The spider curl is an excellent alternative to the Scott curl with bar, offering superior benefits both in terms of effectiveness and safety. This exercise receives this curious name due to the position of the body during its execution, which vaguely resembles a spider. To perform the spider curl, you will use an incline bench, but in a different way. Position yourself face down on the bench, with your chest supported against the inclined backrest and your arms hanging naturally toward the floor, holding the dumbbells. This initial position already provides an excellent stretch of the biceps, especially the long head. The main benefit of the spider curl compared to the Scott curl is in the tension curve it provides to the biceps. While on the preacher bench, the tension decreases significantly at the top of the movement. In the spider curl, the tension remains high throughout the entire range, especially at the point of maximum contraction. This occurs due to the unique angle that the exercise provides, keeping the biceps constantly challenged. The biomechanics of the spider curl also offers important advantages. It eliminates the possibility of using momentum or body swing. It perfectly isolates the biceps, removing the participation of other muscle groups. It places the elbow in a more natural and safe position. It allows working one arm at a time, correcting imbalances. An important aspect is that the spider curl works the biceps in a position very similar to the preacher bench, but without the problems associated with the preacher bench. The main difference is that the angle of work better distributes tension throughout the entire range of motion, without the dead spots present in the traditional Scott curl. To execute correctly: 1. Lie face down on the incline bench. 2. Let your arms hang naturally toward the floor, holding the dumbbells. 3. Keep your elbows slightly in front of your trunk, fixed in that position. 4. Contract your biceps to raise the dumbbells. 5. At the top of the movement, make a conscious contraction for 1 to 2 seconds. 6. Completely control the eccentric phase, returning to the starting position. A common mistake is to allow the elbows to move during the exercise. They should remain fixed in their original position, functioning as the hinge of the movement. Another frequent error is using excessive loads that compromise technique. Remember that this is an isolation exercise, where perfect execution surpasses the amount of weight used. If you don't adapt well to the spider curl, or your gym doesn't have a suitable incline bench, another excellent alternative is the machine Scott curl. Unlike the traditional preacher bench with a bar, the specific machine for the Scott curl maintains constant muscle activation of the biceps, without the peaks and valleys caused by the common preacher bench. The Scott curl machine offers specific advantages: resistance curve adjusted to maintain constant tension, fixed trajectory that reduces the risk of incorrect execution, less stress on the elbow joints, possibility of working one arm at a time. Regardless of the variation you choose, the important thing is to opt for an exercise that efficiently works the biceps with the elbow positioned in front of the body, ensuring muscle development with minimal risk of injuries. For training protocols, I recommend 3 to 4 sets of 10 to 15 repetitions, focusing on the quality of contraction and absolute control of the movement. The spider curl is particularly effective when executed with prolonged time under tension, so consider using a slower cadence to maximize results. If you liked this and also want to discover 10 mistakes that most men make during biceps training that unfortunately also hinder the development of this muscle, we have a video appearing right now on the screen explaining each one of them in more detail. Don't miss it to ensure that you don't commit them. Thank you for watching until here, and may God bless you, my friend.